This is Mr. Burley at the York Catholic District School Board. In this tutorial, we're going to use VexCode, which is Python based, to manipulate a robot with a pen on it such that we can draw this. So first thing we have to do is we have to go into AutoCAD and we have to draw this square. If you notice that the UCS is in the center. So that means that basically it's set up in Cartesian plane, this being quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. So everything here would be positive x, positive y. This would be negative x, positive y. Down here would be negative y, negative x. And over here would be positive x, negative y. The square I need you to draw is 1700 millimeters by 1700 millimeters. That's the size of the field that we'll be playing on. So this is 850 millimeters halfway point. So what you need to do is draw a line straight up and down, 850 millimeters back, another one 850 millimeters in this direction, one 850 millimeters up, and one 850 millimeters down. That way, when you program it, we're going to be starting from this bottom edge. So the first thing I need to do is I need to drive my robot. It's sitting somewhere here. I need to drive the robot up to this position. So I can either come up here and across here, or I can go across here and up there, either way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go distance. I'm going to measure the distance from here to here, and it's 281.2727. So you memorize that or write it down. Come into my code now. Here's what it's going to look like. I'll show you before we go much further. This is what it's essentially going to look like. Something like this. It's going to do this, and it's going to stop, and then it's going to start to draw with its pen. And this is the Python code we're using. So some of you have probably been in my classes before, and you've done a lot of C++, and you notice right away that this is a much cleaner, Python's much cleaner than C++. You don't see all your semicolons everywhere, semicolons. So first thing I do is open up, you can go File, New Text Project, and then up this comes. You can see drive, this is already drawn in here. So this particular situation, drivetrain, drive forward into the distance. We want to change the distance now. I want to change the distance to 281.2727, and you'll see it's millimeters. And now I can click on this guy here, and let's just see what the code, see if it crashes, see if it works right. So it drives forward and it stops. Good. So now what I want to do is I want to turn the robot. So I'm going to go drivetrain, and I'm going to go dot turn, and you'll see turn forward right there, turn forward direction, angle, and units. So the direction is going to be right or left. Angle will be 90 degrees, 180, however far you want. Sorry. And then this one here will be the units, degrees. So angle and then degrees. And then weight, again, I'm not going to put a weight timer. So I'm going to turn right turn, and then I'm going to turn 90, and I'm going to go degrees, and that should be fine the way it is. And I can test it again to see. So now what should happen, so the robot should come up, stop, and turn 90 degrees, which is exactly what it does. All right, so now I'm going to come down, enter here, and I'm going to go drivetrain. And you can right over here and drag these over as well. Dot. I just like doing it this way. And I'm going to go drive for direction, distance, and unit again. So I'm going to go forward. Actually, no, I'm not. Let's turn the pen on. So we're going to go pen. And we're going to choose the color. Let's set the color to, let's do blue. I'm going to do blue across the bottom. All right. And like that. Now I'm going to tell the pen to go down. Currently the pen's up in the air. So we're going to go pen, like that, dot, action right here. We're going to go down with the pen. And now when we start moving, it should draw a line. So we're going to, another thing you can do, which speeds things up a bit, if you want to do it, you can do this. Or if you want to just get practice typing, it's also a good idea to type this stuff out. So the next distance I need to go is I went up here. I turned and I went over to here. Now I made a mistake. If you look here, I'm putting my pen down here and I'm going across. I don't want to be doing that because I'll be drawing the line. In this particular thing, I don't want that. So I made that mistake. I'd like to say I did it on purpose, but I didn't. So turn 90 degrees and then go forward. The next distance I'm going to go forward is from there to here. Let's see how far that is. That is from there to there is 221.5738. 5738. So if I come into here, 221.5738. Now I'm going to come down. Now I'm going to turn my pen on. So I'm going to go pen, set color, dot. You have to go dot, which these are called dot operators. Set color. Let's choose blue, and there we go. And then pen dot move, and then I'm going to set it down. I'm typing now here again. See if I type lowercase, it doesn't work. You gotta be uppercase down. So now drives up, turns 90 degrees, drives over to that first spot, sets the pen down, turns the pen color, sets the pen down, and now we're going to get it to drive to the other end. We're going to get it to go all the way across to here. So if I go measure distance, I want to measure from here. So from there all the way back to here, which is 1516.9307. 1516.9307. So we'll come back into here, enter, and then we're going to go drivetrain. And again, I think it's probably a good idea to type these out just to get the hang of it. Drivetrain, drive forward direction, distance, forwards. The distance this time was 1516.9307, and it's millimeters. Whoops. Millimeters. There we go. So now if I go, it should up, turn, forward, stop, pen down, draw. And the other cool things is you can go here, you can change if you, oops, I didn't mean to do that. You can change your different camera angles, right? So you can see it, you can watch it this way or straight up and down, however you like. And click stop, and there's a bunch of information up here too, and you can see where it is currently, right? You can see there's no bumpers on it right now. Later on we'll put bumpers on it and so on. Now what I want to do is I want to turn around and come all the way back down to this spot here, because right now it's facing that way. So let's see. First of all, we have to turn the robot around. So how do we turn it around? We drive train and we dot turn forward direction angle here. We're going to turn, it doesn't matter right or left, comma, and we have to go 180 degrees, right? Because we have full turnaround and it's degrees here, right? And then we're going to, once we turn 180 degrees around, we can go drive train, dot direction, distance, and unit. Now, Alt Tab, I want to find out how far is it from here to the door. So I'm going to measure that. So go here, distance from there to here, 877.2656. 877.2656. So I'm going to go forward, comma, 877.2656, comma, mm. And then when I get there, I want to change the color of the pen before I draw the door. I'm going to draw the door in a different color. I'm going to draw it blue or something. So I'm going to go pen, and enter, dot, set color, and let's make it red door. Right now, I've changed the color. I have to turn the robot to prepare it to go up. So that would be drivetrain, dot turn forward direction and angle. So it's turn, we have to turn it right because it's going to be up, and it's going to be 90, and it's going to be degrees, right? Good. So now it's ready to draw that line. We have to figure out how far up does the door go. We're going to go up to here. So let's go back over here, measure distance, zoom in a bit, click here and click here, and that's 235.0798. Alt Tab, drivetrain, drive dot operator, drive 4, direction, distance, and unit, forward. The distance this time is 235.0798 millimeters, comma, mm. Now let's see what it looks like. Now, that's basically how you do it. You lift the pen up and go to new positions and so on. One of the things I want to show you, though, so it stops it, turns around, goes all the way back. I could have lifted the pen up, but I didn't. Stop, turn, and it's going to go up. So that's how you do all that. Now you can go again. Like I said, you can check it out this way. It's pretty cool. Now, there's a couple of things I want to talk about. First thing is organization. Later on, we'll get into variables. I'm not going to worry about too much about variables right now. You try not to put in constants in a program. You try to set variables. And again, I'll go over that a little bit later. I'm not going to worry about this just now. But what I want you to do, though, is I want you to stay nice and organized. So if you draw the whole house all the way down like this, it's very difficult to troubleshoot things. So what I want to do here is hashtag, which is like commenting. So in C++, it's // but in Python, we use this hashtag, and it's a comment. Comment is something the computer doesn't read. So first, so I'm just going to write it first move robot into position. And so that takes us all the way down to about here. So what I'm trying to do is break this down into groups. So first position, drives forward, turns 90 degrees, drives forward, puts the pen down. So you could say drives forward and sets pen and lowers pen. Something like this. Then down here, the next stage, this one here is drawing our first base. So this is drawing base of house in, I don't know, blue. And you could, if you wanted to, you could, any other information that might be interesting might be needed for that to troubleshoot. So then if I come down here now, so I drove it forward, I turned, so what did I do? I drove it forward, turned right 180 degrees, turned all the way back, and then come all the way back to the door. So this one here, I could say is actually hashtag drawing of door. So this way, if you stay nice and organized and break up the program, it's much easier to troubleshoot later on. Like say you wanted to move the window over, you wouldn't have to go through the whole code. You could come down here and say, okay, this is drawing of the door. I want to move the door over. Well, it moved back to this position to start the door. So I'm going to change this number, these kinds of things. That's the first thing. It's really important to comment as much as you can. A lot of people complain about, they'll look at a program and they'll say, I don't understand what the person's doing. There's no comments. One of the most common thing I heard when I was in industry. Another good idea, especially when you're learning, is to comment code lines. This is maybe just drivetrain is driving forward for set distance in millimeters. Things like this throughout your program is really handy, especially down the road when this program is pretty easy, but down the road when you get into some complicated things, you'll understand what you were trying to do. Okay. The other thing I want to show you is another troubleshooting method. Let's say for argument's sake, I typed all of this code all the way down here. And then I got here and I don't know, I forgot the bracket. And when you're typing, you don't really notice it, right? It's like you don't really see that. So when you go to play it here, it fails. It's going to come up and it's going to fail. It's a runtime error. And you get certain information over here in the corner. You got some information that tells you sometimes it's easy to see it. You didn't define something or whatever. But a lot of the times I find it's very difficult to understand what this is saying. It's line 69 as well. Is there really a line 69? Well, I don't see a line 69 here. It must count all the other things. So what I do in this situation is first I do a cursory look to see if I can find any problems. If I can't find any problems, what I start doing is I start I start commenting out the lines. So you can comment out a line like this. And what that does for you is it ignores the line. It doesn't delete it, it just ignores it. So you can go back to say, I'm gonna comment out those lines to see if that's where my problem's lying. And I come in here now, and nope, it's still a problem. So my problem's further up. So I come up here and I go, okay, well, let's comment out a few more lines because I know it worked, and all of a sudden now it's not working. So one of these lines I did must have caused my issue. So let's see what this does. Okay, great. So we've isolated the problem. So come down here and say, okay, well, this didn't have any role, and all of a sudden up here it had an issue. So let's try this one here. I uncommented these two guys, and let's see if I can isolate it this way. Yeah, so maybe it's the next line down, come down here and then run it. And if it fails, I'll know which line now is the problem. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so then I can look closer at the line and say, oh, I forgot his bracket, or maybe I put an extra bracket in, or who knows, right? Now I can test it, and all is well. There you go. Beautiful. Now, when you think you've found a problem, the only way to properly root cause a problem is to turn the problem off and on. To make sure that you've solved the problem. First of all, I want to go back here and I want to take off these comments now because we know that's not the problem. We know the problem was up here. We're pretty sure the problem was up here. So without that bracket, it should fail. Yes, good. So you turn the problem off and on. Do this a couple of times. Now let's test it. Let's see if I fixed it. The more times you can turn a problem off and on, the more likely you have figured the problem out, the root cause of the problem. So that seems to be my problem. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to continue drawing this house, coding it all the way just like I've done here like this now. Save your files. These files, when you can save it to your device right on your computer, or when you save it, it saves directly into your Google Drive. Okay, thanks for watching.